Good morning and happy blessed Friday. I've been reading a lot and just trying to feed my spirit. And I am an avid seeker of truth and honesty in order for me to grow. I'm clear that I'm not perfect, but I am also willing to admit my imperfections and to face truth. And so two things. One thing I read that really stood out for me was true counseling helps you to see and to face the truth. And once that occurs, then the work of healing can begin. And that just really resonated with me. The other thing I read was we cannot have false relationships that are built on pretense. And pretense being an attempt to make something that is not the case appear to be true. A false impression, a claim or attempt to make a falsehood appear true. And one of the examples that were given were to pretend to be friends with someone you don't like. And then another example was to claim to be an expert in something you aren't. And I find that when people label themselves as experts, I wonder how much of that is just ego-driven. And so let's go back to or start with relationships. Have you built a lot of your relationships on false pretense? Do you surround yourself with people who feed that? Or would you rather be around people who are willing to pull your card and say, yeah, no? And I believe that accountability is important. That accountability coupled with transparency as well as vulnerability allows me to face the ugly truths. That it is not important for me to always be right because one, I could never be. But in the event that my actions or my words have negatively impacted someone that I love and care about, and maybe in the moment I can't see it, that I have an accountability partner who will pull my card and show me, or at least help me to see the ugly truth. And I think about a situation in my life when I was going through a really hard breakup. And at that time, my accountability partner was my older sister. And back then, I couldn't see what it was she was trying to present to me. And so my defenses went up. And in defending myself, because I was trying to convince myself of something that wasn't right, I told her she didn't understand because she hadn't gone through what I was going through. In retrospect, she didn't have to go through the exact same thing for her to understand. This is a person who we shared the same womb. She watched me grow up. She saw parts of my kind, sensitive, loving, giving, big-hearted spirit. And she didn't want to see me being taken advantage of. And I can think about plenty of situations where people who I love had blind spots, as I have blind spots, and pulled my card and shed light on situations that, because it was so very present, I couldn't see the bigger picture. And sometimes it takes someone from the outside looking in who loves you and cares about you to pull your card and to show you. And so that's what the facing and seeing the ugly truths in order to heal come from. And the false pretense is, would you rather be around people who hold you accountable and can pull your card and tell you when you stepped out of the bounds or you're off and you're incorrect, minus being defensive? And in order to grow, we have to understand the ways in which we show up and the impact that the ways in which we show up have on other people. There was also another person in my life who once told me, it's not all about me. And back then, being younger, I truly believed that when situations happened, that it was about me or it was about being right. And that wasn't it. To me, as an adult today, being right is less important to me than being connected with my own ability first to face ugly truths and then to show up for other people who trust me to hold them accountable when they're unable to face the same ugly truths. And there's a saying about don't talk about it, be about it. And that's true too. That if I am not walking the walk and talking the talk, then I am in no position to guide anyone through that or to point out and help them face that. And so that's why it's important for me to not build relationships on false pretense that blow up my head and my ego. It's more important for me to have genuine, loving connections with people who will see those ugly truths, not judge me, and bring me back to face them when I'm unable to. Thank you for listening. I love you. Happy Blessed Friday.